Regret is a brutal teacher. It doesn't arrive when it's convenient, nor does it whisper its lessons gently in your ear. No, regret strikes like a storm in the dead of night, unannounced, relentless, and merciless. It's only when the silence settles that they will hear it. The echo of your absence, the gaping void where your presence once stood. The weight of what they took for granted pressing down on them like an unbearable weight. And by then, it will be too late. People rarely recognize value when it's right in front of them. They assume loyalty is an infinite resource, that patience is an unshakable force, and that kindness will never run out. They believe they have time to neglect, time to overlook, time to dismiss the very person who stood by them when no one else did. But time is the greatest illusion. It doesn't wait. And when it runs out, it leaves only one thing behind: regret. Regret is not immediate. That's what makes it so dangerous. It's not like pain, which is sharp and immediate. It's not like anger, which burns hot and fades quickly. Regret is slow. It creeps in when the noise of the world quiets down, when distractions can no longer keep the truth at bay. It begins as a whisper, a fleeting thought. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have treated them better. Then that whisper grows louder, turning into an inescapable reality. The regret of losing you will not just visit them, it will consume them. They will replay the memories, each one tainted with the realization that they failed you. The moments you forgave them when they didn't deserve it. The times you stood by them when everyone else walked away. The times you gave them love, kindness, and patience, and they returned it with indifference, cruelty, or selfishness. Those moments will become their torment. Imagine them sitting in the silence of their own making, scrolling through old messages, looking at the last photos, remembering the sound of your voice, the way you laughed, the way you cared. They will wonder why they didn't appreciate you when they had the chance. They will wish, with everything in them, that they could go back and change how they treated you. But regret does not come with a second chance. They will look for you in places they once ignored, in the places you used to sit, in the habits you used to share, in the warmth of your presence that is now nothing but a memory. They will reach out, but the reality will sink in. You're not there anymore, and that is the price they will pay. So often we think that people who mistreat us, who take us for granted, will walk away unaffected. We think they will never feel the weight of what they've lost, but that is a lie. The truth is, when someone has truly been there for another person, when they have given their time, energy, love, and devotion, losing them is not something that can be forgotten. It is a wound that never quite heals. And here's the irony: when you finally move on, when you rebuild yourself, when you step into your own power and embrace a life free from their neglect, they will feel it even more. Because regret is sharpest when it collides with the realization that the person they dismissed became the person they now wish they had. That is the weight of losing you. That is the torment they will carry. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day when the distractions fade, when the noise dies down, when they are left alone with the reality of their own actions, they will come to terms with what they have done. And by then, it will be too late. They took you for granted until you were gone. People don't realize the weight of something until it's missing. It's a tragic flaw in human nature. We assume that what is constant will always remain, and that a kind heart will always forgive, that patience is infinite, that love, no matter how much it is tested, will never run out. And so they mistreat, neglect, and overlook the very people who would have done anything for them. You were that person, the one who always showed up even when it wasn't convenient, the one who listened when no one else cared, the one who sacrificed your own needs just to make sure they were okay. And for what? To be dismissed, ignored, and treated as if your presence was nothing more than an afterthought? They took your loyalty and made it a routine. They mistook your patience for weakness. They saw your kindness as something to be exploited rather than cherished. They believed you would always be there, because after all, you had always been. No matter how many times they pushed you away, you returned. No matter how many times they ignored your feelings, you swallowed your pain and stayed. They never questioned it. They never stopped to think, what if one day they leave? Because the thought of losing you never crossed their mind. Until it became their reality. The moment you left, the shift was immediate. They expected you to return, just like before. They thought it was temporary, that you were just upset, that time would bring you back into their orbit. But something was different this time. This time, you had nothing left to give. This time, you were done. And that was when the weight of their mistake began to settle in. At first, they dismissed it. They'll come back. That's what they told themselves. They kept living as if nothing had changed, thinking you were just waiting for the right moment to return. But days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And slowly, the truth became undeniable. You weren't coming back. That's when the regret set in. They started replaying the past, sifting through memories, searching for the exact moment when they lost you. Was it that one time they ignored your pain because they were too wrapped up in their own problems? Was it when they dismissed your feelings, making you feel like you were asking for too much? Or was it the accumulation of every little moment they failed to appreciate you, every silent cry for understanding that went unheard? The truth is, it wasn't one moment. It was all of them. Every instance where they could have chosen to value you but didn't. Every time they had the chance to make you feel important but instead made you feel invisible. They took for granted the way you always checked in on them, the way you remembered the little things, the way you gave them space to be themselves without judgment. And now, they would give anything to have those moments back. But here's the cruelest part about regret. It doesn't come with a rewind button. They can't go back to the moment when you were still theirs and change the way they treated you. They can't undo the nights you cried yourself to sleep wondering why you weren't enough for them. They can't take back the way they made you feel like an afterthought when you made them a priority. Now, all they have is the deafening silence of your absence. They scroll through old messages but don't know what to say. They look at old photos and feel the weight of what they lost. They see glimpses of you in places you used to go together, in songs you once loved, in words they once brushed off. They never imagined a life without you, and now they have no choice but to live in one. And the worst part, they now realize what they had. They now see your worth, but they had to lose you to appreciate it. And that is a pain they will carry forever. Regret grows in silence. Regret doesn't announce itself with a loud crash. It doesn't burst in, demanding attention. No, regret is much more insidious. It waits. It lingers in the quiet, creeping in when the distractions fade, when the noise of the world dies down, when they are left alone with nothing but their own thoughts. At first, they may not even recognize it. They go about their days, convincing themselves that life is just as it was before. They laugh with friends, bury themselves in work, and surround themselves with anything that numbs the emptiness. But then, in those unguarded moments, when they are alone in the car, lying awake at night, or scrolling mindlessly through their phone, it happens. The whisper. That tiny, intrusive thought, did I make a mistake? They try to push it away, but regret doesn't give up so easily. It plants itself like a seed, growing stronger with time. What started as a passing thought becomes a lingering doubt. Maybe I should have treated them better. Maybe I should have appreciated them more. And the more they try to ignore it, the more it tightens its grip. It's in the silence where regret thrives, because silence forces reflection, and reflection forces them to face the truth they've been running from. They had something real, something rare, and they let it slip through their fingers. The nights become the hardest. During the day, it's easier to escape work, errands, social media, endless distractions, to drown out the voice of their own conscience. But when the world slows down, when there's nothing left to occupy their mind, that's when regret comes alive. The thoughts start swirling. The questions become relentless. Why did I do that? Why didn't I see what I had? Ha ha ha. They'll replay old conversations in their head, hearing the things they said or didn't say in a way they never did before. They'll remember the times they dismissed your feelings, the moments they rolled their eyes when you needed reassurance, the times they made you feel like an inconvenience instead of a priority. And now, in the silence, it all plays back like a haunting melody they can't turn off. Then come the memories, the ones they didn't cherish enough when they had the chance. The way your face lit up when you were excited, the way your voice softened when you cared. The little things they brushed aside, the texts you sent to check on them, the times you put their needs before your own, the love you gave so effortlessly. And suddenly, they feel it. The ache of missing you. Not just the idea of you, not just the presence of another person in their life, but you. The way you made them feel, the warmth you brought, the unwavering support they thought would always be there. They'll check their phone, hesitating over your name. Should they reach out, what would they even say? I'm sorry, I was wrong? But then they'll realize some things can't be undone. Some wounds, once inflicted, don't just disappear. And that's when the real weight of regret sets in. Regret is cruel. It doesn't just remind them of what they lost. It reminds them of the fact that they had every opportunity to do things differently, and they didn't. It forces them to see how easily they could have made a different choice. How a simple, I appreciate you could have changed everything. How showing up for you the way you showed up for them would have made all the difference. But they didn't, and now regret has made its home in the silence. They will search for you in everything. At first, they won't admit it. They'll tell themselves they've moved on, that life is just as it was before. They'll convince themselves that losing you was just another chapter closing, nothing more. But the truth is, they will feel your absence in ways they never expected. And the more they try to ignore it, the more it will haunt them. It starts subtly, a familiar scent in the air, a perfume, a cologne, something that once clung to your skin and filled the spaces you shared. It drifts past them in a crowded street, in an elevator, in a passing stranger, and for a split second their heart races. They turn, expecting to see you standing there, but you're not, and that momentary rush of hope is crushed by the weight of reality. Then come the songs. The ones you used to play when you were together, the ones you sang along to without a care in the world, the ones that made you laugh, made you cry, made you feel alive. They never paid attention before. But now every lyric cuts a little deeper. Every melody becomes a reminder of the person they lost. They'll try to skip the song, but their fingers will hesitate over the screen. Because part of them wants to feel that ache, to linger in the memory of what once was. They'll see you in places they once took for granted. The coffee shop where you used to sit together. The park bench where you had those deep conversations. The movie theater where you shared popcorn and laughter. These places, once ordinary, now feel hollow. Because without you, they are nothing more than echoes of a past they can't relive. And it doesn't stop there. They'll find pieces of you in people who cross their path, a stranger's laugh that sounds just like yours, the way someone tilts their head when they're thinking just like you did, a phrase, a mannerism, a fleeting resemblance. It will all remind them of you, but none of it will be you. No matter how much they search, they will never find another person who fills the space you left behind. Late at night when the world is quiet and their thoughts are loud, they'll reach for their phone. Your name will stare back at them from their contact list, untouched, unchanged. Their fingers will hover over the screen, tempted to type something, anything. But what do they say? I miss you. I was wrong. I wish I had treated you better. They'll start typing, then delete it. Start again, then stop. Because deep down, they know some things can't be undone. Some losses are permanent. Regret doesn't just haunt the mind, it invades the senses. It forces them to see you in everything, to hear your voice in the quiet, to search for you in places they once overlooked. But no matter how hard they look, no matter how much they wish they could go back, you will remain just out of reach. They had you, And now they don't. And every reminder, every memory, every ghost of you they stumble upon will only reinforce one thing: the devastating truth that they let go of something they can never get back. They will see you become someone they can no longer reach. There is no pain quite like watching someone you took for granted become someone you can no longer reach. At first, they may not realize it. They assume life will go on as it always has, that you will remain within their grasp, still lingering in the background, waiting for them to return. But life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause for their realization. And you grow, you evolve, you become something far greater than the version of yourself they once knew. It happens slowly at first. You start making changes, not for them, not as a way to prove anything, but because the pain they left behind forced you to rebuild. You focus on yourself, you heal, you learn what it means to stand on your own, to reclaim the power you once gave away so freely. And in doing so, something shifts. You become stronger, more confident, more resilient, and the person they once knew begins to fade into the past. They will notice it before they admit it to themselves. A picture of you looking happier than they remember. A mutual friend mentioning how well you're doing. A glimpse of you moving forward without hesitation, without regret. And in that moment, something inside them will break, because they assumed that losing them would leave you shattered. They thought you would stay stuck, mourning their absence, waiting for them to come back. But instead, you flourished. They will see you stepping into the best version of yourself, a version they never truly appreciated. They will see you becoming the kind of person they now wish they could have beside them. And that realization will haunt them because they had the chance. They had access to you before the transformation, before the glow up, before the self-discovery that made you unstoppable. But they squandered it. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your patience for permanence, and now that door is closed. They will try to convince themselves it's just a phase, that deep down, you're still the same person who once waited for them, who once forgave their mistakes without hesitation. But every time they see you thriving, every time they hear about your growth, every time they witness the unshakable confidence you now carry, they will realize just how much they miscalculated. And the worst part, they will know they can't just walk back into your life like before, because you are no longer the person who would welcome them with open arms. You have outgrown them. Their words, their excuses, their apologies, they no longer hold the same power over you. The dynamic has shifted. And they are the ones left feeling small. They will watch from the sidelines as you step into everything they never thought you would. And it will burn, not because they hate to see you succeed, but because they now understand that they were never meant to be part of this version of your story. They had their chance, and they lost it. The moment they see you standing taller, speaking with authority, embracing your worth without hesitation, that is when the regret will hit the hardest. Because they will know deep down that they had access to something rare and they let it slip through their fingers. Now, all they can do is watch as you rise beyond their reach, forever knowing that they will never again be part of the world you are building. They will be forced to acknowledge their mistakes. At first, they will resist it. Their ego will fight against the truth, convincing them that they did nothing wrong. They'll tell themselves that losing you was just another inevitable part of life, that people come and go, that they are unaffected by your absence. But regret is patient. It waits for the right moment, creeping in when they least expect it, forcing them to look at themselves in a way they never have before. They will try to justify their actions. They will replay the past, twisting memories to fit a narrative that makes them feel less guilty. Maybe it wasn't my fault. Maybe they were too sensitive. Maybe they expected too much from me. They will search for any excuse that allows them to escape accountability. But deep down, a seed of doubt will begin to grow. Because the truth cannot be avoided forever. As time passes, they will start to see patterns. The same behaviors that pushed you away will start to show up in their other relationships. They will begin to notice that the kindness, patience, and understanding they once received from you is absent in the people around them now. Others won't tolerate what you did. Others won't give them the endless chances that you did, and suddenly the reality of their own behavior will become undeniable. They will hear your words echo in their mind, the things you said, the warnings you gave, the way you tried to explain how their actions were hurting you. Words they once dismissed as overreactions will now ring with truth. They will remember the look in your eyes when you were pleading for them to change, when you were asking for basic respect, when you were still willing to fight for the relationship even as they were letting it slip away. And then the realization will hit them like a wave. They were the problem. It wasn't you. It wasn't bad timing. It wasn't miscommunication. It was their choices, their actions, their inability to appreciate what they had. They will start to notice the absence of the things they took for granted. The thoughtful messages, the way you always remembered the little things, the unwavering support you provided even when they didn't deserve it. They will begin to see the difference between what you gave them and what others are willing to tolerate. That's when the self-reflection will turn into regret. They will wonder why they were so blind, why they didn't see your worth when it was right in front of them. They will think about all the moments they could have done better, all the times they chose selfishness over gratitude, pride over humility, indifference over love. And the hardest part? They will know. There is no way to undo it. They can't go back and rewrite the past. They can't erase the pain they caused. They can't take back the nights you spent crying, the days you questioned your worth, the times you gave them your heart only for them to carelessly toss it aside. They will have no choice but to sit with that knowledge, to wake up every morning knowing that they lost something irreplaceable, to live with the understanding that they had a rare kind of love, devotion, and loyalty, and they threw it away. It will haunt them in conversations when someone asks about you. It will sting when they see you thriving without them. It will weigh on them in the quiet moments when they are left alone with nothing but their thoughts. Because for the first time, they will see the full extent of their mistakes, and there will be no one to blame but themselves. They will wish for another chance that will never come. Regret has a way of making people believe they can fix what they've broken, that if they just say the right words, if they just prove they've changed, if they just reach out one more time, maybe, just maybe, you'll give them another chance. But life doesn't work that way, and deep down they will know. At first, they will convince themselves that the door isn't fully closed, that maybe you just need space, that you just need time to cool down, that one day when the dust settles, they can come back and you'll be there waiting. It's a comforting lie, one that shields them from the full weight of their mistake. But as time moves forward, that illusion will begin to crack. They will check their phone more often than they'd like to admit, waiting for a message that never comes. They will type out apologies, paragraphs of things they should have said when they had the chance, only to delete them because they don't know if you'll even care anymore. The realization will hit them slowly, first as a whisper, then as a deafening truth. You're gone. Not just physically, but emotionally. The version of you that once loved them, once forgave them, once held space for them in your heart, no longer exists. They waited too long. That's when the desperation will set in. They will start reaching for anything that keeps them connected to you, revisiting old conversations, rereading texts that once felt insignificant but now feel like treasures of a time they can never get back. They will search for you in mutual friends, asking about you casually, hoping to hear that maybe you still think about them. But what they will hear instead is that you're moving on, that you're growing, that you're finding happiness in places that no longer include them. And that's when it will really sink in. The idea of a second chance will transform from a possibility into an impossible dream. No matter how much they wish they could go back, they can't. No matter how many times they replay the past, they can't rewrite it. The things they said in anger, the indifference they showed, the way they made you feel small, those things cannot be undone. They will try to reach out, hoping that maybe if they just say the right thing, you will let them back in. But the problem is, regret doesn't grant do-overs. The pain they caused you didn't just disappear the moment they realized their mistake. It shaped you, it changed you, it made you into someone who no longer needs them. And that will be the hardest pill for them to swallow, because they will realize that had they just treated you right when they had the chance, they wouldn't be in this position. They wouldn't be on the outside looking in. They wouldn't be carrying the weight of knowing that they lost something irreplaceable. They will start comparing. Every person they meet will be measured against you. They will search for your kindness in others, your understanding, your loyalty, and when they don't find it, the regret will cut deeper. There will come a moment long after you have moved on when they will finally accept the truth. They had their chance and they wasted it. They had someone who cared, someone who fought for them, someone who was willing to stand by their side, and they let them go without a second thought. They will wish for another chance. They will long for just one more moment to make things right. But by then, the only thing left for them to hold on to will be the echo of what once was. And that will haunt them in ways they never imagined. Your absence will be their unfinished sentence. Regret is never immediate. It creeps in slowly, unnoticed at first, like a shadow stretching longer with the setting sun. It hides behind pride, behind distractions, behind the noise of daily life. But eventually the silence will settle, and when it does, they will feel it. The emptiness you left behind. Your absence will not just be a void, it will be an unfinished sentence, a story that never reached its resolution. And that will haunt them in ways they never expected. At first, they will brush it off. They will convince themselves that life is moving forward, that people leave all the time, that what you had wasn't that significant. It's easier to tell themselves these things than to face the truth. Because admitting they lost something real means admitting they were the reason it ended. But time has a cruel way of exposing what the mind tries to suppress. The little things will start to remind them. The way they used to tell you about their day. The casual conversations that once felt so insignificant now feel like missing pieces of their routine. They will instinctively reach for their phone, thinking for a split second to text you, until they remember they can't, until they remember they don't have that access anymore. And that's when it will hit them. Your presence was never just an afterthought. It was never just another part of their life that could be replaced. It was the thread that connected so many parts of them. And now, with that thread gone, everything feels loose, unraveling at the edges. They will try to fill the space with other people, other conversations, other distractions. But nothing will fit the same way. No one will respond to them the way you did. No one will care about the little details, the way you noticed the things about them they never even had to say out loud. No one will offer them the same patience, the same understanding, the same depth of love. And soon, they will start to realize that the space you left isn't just empty, it's a sentence that was never finished. They will think about the moments you should have shared together, the milestones, the memories that now will never happen. When something exciting happens, they will instinctively want to tell you. When something painful happens, they will wish they had your support. But those moments will pass without you, and the weight of your absence will grow heavier with each one. They will hear your voice in the silence, in the advice you once gave, in the way you reassured them when they doubted themselves. They will see traces of you in their own actions, words they picked up from you, habits they formed because of you. And yet you are no longer there to complete the thought, to be part of the outcome. They will replay the past like a book they can't put down, searching for the place where everything shifted, searching for the moment where they should have chosen differently. But that book is already written, and there are no edits allowed. There will be nights when they lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how they let this happen, how they allowed something so valuable to slip through their fingers. And that question will remain unanswered, just like the unfinished sentence your absence left behind. They will try to rewrite the ending, to imagine what could have been, if they had only realized sooner, if they had only valued you when they had the chance. But imagination is a cruel comfort. It offers possibilities, but never reality. And in the end, that's what they will be left with. a series of unfinished thoughts, a silence that no one else can fill, a sentence that was left hanging in midair, never to be completed, and it will follow them, a reminder of what could have been but never will be. The weight of regret. Regret is an unforgiving shadow. It follows, it lingers, and it never fully fades. It does not grant second chances, nor does it allow for do-overs. Once it takes hold, it buries itself deep, making its home in the quiet moments, in the sleepless nights, in the spaces where words were left unsaid and actions left undone. And for them, the ones who let you go, regret will be relentless. Because losing you was not just losing a person, it was losing an entire future, an entire version of their life that they will never get back. They will feel the weight of their choices every time they search for you in someone else and find only disappointment. They will feel the emptiness of their own making every time they reach for a door that is now locked forever. You were not just another person passing through their life. You were the rare kind of presence that people spend lifetimes searching for. And they had it. They had you. And they let you slip away, believing you would always be there, believing they had time, but time ran out. And now, all they have left are memories that sting instead of soothe, reminders of the love they never fully cherished, and an ache that no amount of distractions can silence. But you are free. You are no longer waiting, no longer pleading for them to see your worth. You have stepped into a new version of yourself, one that no longer needs their validation, one that no longer waits for an apology that may never come. And while they spend the rest of their life haunted by the loss of you, you will continue to rise, to build, to thrive, because their regret is their burden to carry, not yours.